MovieWeb.com.
Oh, that's funny right there.
Lightning McQueen!
See you at the race.
Yes, you will see, Francesco. Like this.
He is so getting big tomorrow.
These Americans are clearly master spies.
Excuse me, ma'am.
This cannot be him.
Is he American?
Look out, ladies. Mater's fitting to get funky.
Extremely.
Then it's him. Finn McMissile, British intelligence.
Go Mater. Average intelligence.
So guys, I want to ask, in terms of sequels, there's good ones and there are often bad ones. What do you think are some of the common pitfalls that sequels run into, and in what ways do you think Cars 2 avoided them?
Well, I think that, you know, with this one, it sort of feels like this story kind of stands alone because it's such a kind of, it's a different genre really than the first one. This is sort of a, you know, as Eddie says, this is sort of transmission impossible. So it's really,
you should try comedy.
Yeah, it's just kind of this, you know, exciting adventure kind of around the world, and you get to see, you know, places like Tokyo get the carification.
I think with sequels, the balance of probably sequels and trequels and quadruple, whatever, as the numbers go up, is the problem of things that you liked in the first one that you should continue, or shooting the things that you liked and not continuing them. That the balance of that is really tricky. What you keep between the like McQueen Mater relationship, and then what you don't keep, because we no longer have Paul Newman in the second one. What you have to leave when you leave behind the location of what's the name of the place, the town that you're in one, in the Springs, the
Radiator Springs.
Radiator Springs, and you have to leave that behind. So it's the balance of that is really tricky one to get, and they, you know, we have gone for this big adventure around the world. You do get to see around the world, and there's 14,000 computers being used on this to render the animation as opposed to only 5,000. So it's jumped up by 3 times. It's amazingly vibrant and 3D.
Hold on. I think I've got something.
What is it?
It's the pacer from the party last night. I'm cross-referencing with the photos from the oil derricks. Yeah, his VIN numbers match.
Anyone with him? He won't be alone.
Conducting analysis on the target. He's not the only one here. 3, 5, they're everywhere. And they're all closing in on... Oh no! Finn? Finn, where are you?
Get him out of the pits, now!
Wow, some of them fellas is really loud.
Can you hear me? Over.
What?
Get out of the pit now! Do you hear me?
Hey, I know you. You're that girl from the party last night. You want to do our date right now?
Guys, a little too much chatter. Let's keep this line clear.
It's really not a sequel. It's a completely different movie. It's not a continuation of life in Radiator Springs. It's the other one was a romantic jaunt through Route 66 and days gone by. This is completely opposite. Action-packed spy movie from the beginning to the end. So I don't even consider it a sequel. I really don't. So I don't know what mistakes there would be to be made with a sequel, because it's not, to me, a sequel.
Yeah, shifting genres I think is always a really good idea, because then it's just, you're with the same characters but you're doing something new. I think a lot of times they make the mistake of just telling the same story again.
Yeah, they didn't slap it together. They did it right. They wanted to make sure it was a good storyline. They could have easily slapped it together. Look, when you're selling $8 billion worth of toys, you know, you could easily slap something together and sell more toys. They didn't do it like that. They wanted to make sure the storyline was good. I mean, they rewrote this movie a bunch of times to make sure they had just the right amount of everything.
They've done it already so successfully. They've done sequels with the Toy Story.
You're in good hands, yeah, when you see Toy Story 3.
They really, and they didn't change the whole setting in order to be able to make those films brilliant. So they know, it's just having rigorous standards and not letting them slip just because you can guarantee a certain amount of audience, you know, figures by having a much loved franchise.
This isn't your first experience with sequels. And obviously there are a lot of pitfalls to avoid when making sequels. What in your mind are some of the things that are kind of the common mistakes, and in what ways did you work to avoid them?
One of the common mistakes I think with people doing sequels is that they just take what was great about the original and do it again. And that's kind of the easiest way to do it. But what happens is that it makes the original less original, right? In the second one, you feel like, well, I've already seen that, you know? And so I'm really, in doing sequels at Pixar, we always like to do something completely different, right? And part of it is that we always want to have a nice emotional core of the heart of the film is so important in a Pixar film. And you just can't have your main character kind of forget what he learned in the first movie, because the heart comes from that. It comes from what did the character learn?
Yeah.
But it's so much fun to think about what else can we do with this. And I love spy movies, and I thought, wow, a spy movie in this world could be great, because the spy car and the spy, which are typically different, in our world is one and the same. And that could really open up great opportunities for cool gadgets and a lot of fun. And so that sort of like was really fun in trying to do something that's really different, but it's still set in the same world that we created in the first one.
Lightning McQueen! Buonasera!
Nice to meet you, Francesco.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. You're very good looking. Not as good as I thought, but you're good.
Excuse me, can I get a picture with you?
Ah, anything for a McQueen's friend.
Miss Sally is gonna flip when she sees this. She's Lightning McQueen's girlfriend.
Ooh.
She's a big fan of yours.
Hey, she has a good taste.
Well, Mater's prone to exaggeration. I wouldn't say she's a big fan.
You're right. She's a huge fan. She goes on and on about your open wheels here.
Well, mentioning it once doesn't qualify as going on and on.
Francesco is familiar with this reaction to Francesco. The women respect the car that has nothing to hide.
Yeah,
Now, I understand that Pixar is pretty good about working with actors in terms of incorporating some of your mannerisms, your actual performance beyond even just the voice performance into the animation. Could you tell me a little bit about sort of that process?
I don't know that, maybe with, other than, I guess sometimes, the thing about John Lasseter is there's always this sort of, when you're working, he's always kind of eager for you to, try anything. They have it kind of worked out and scripted, but he's like a kid, so he gets excited when something new comes in.
I would say that actually all the animation films now do film us all when we're doing our lines and animating the characters, so that the animators can take some of the physicalization. I don't know if that's a word. He did English, but I didn't. So that is a standard technique now. But they, we've seen their offices. Pixar's offices are just the people who work in the offices get encouraged to redecorate their offices into amazing ways. So knowing that, you just think, well, what are they putting into their work if they're doing that in their offices? Or maybe they're doing nothing in the work; they're just doing their offices all the time. But I think one leads to the other, and it's a beautiful way of working.
Now, I know with a lot of animation now, they're actually filming you when you're in the booth, recording the voice. In what ways do they kind of incorporate your actual performance with the animation, like mannerisms or
they'll do your mannerisms, your facial expressions, and things like that. Your eyes, the way you turn your mouth a certain way. The Mater, when you say shoot, you're like, shoot, sheriff. When I did the line, shoot, sheriff. That's where my mouth goes. Shoot, sheriff. And so when Mater does it, he's like, shoot, sheriff. It's the same thing. So I think that they really try to make it look as much like the person doing the voice as they possibly can.
Do the little kids ever hear you out in public talking and then go, hey, I know that voice?
Their parents will say, yeah, it's Mater over there, and then I'll go, wee. Then they kind of look.
Now, I, of course, love the Toy Story short that played in front of this movie. Are we going to get a short in front of Brave? Maybe the Luna short?
Yes. I promise you, every Pixar feature film will always have a Pixar short film. Sometimes they're original, and sometimes they use characters from some of our films. Like in the front of Cars 2, we have a Toy Story short. And it's hilarious. It's called Hawaiian Vacation.
Yeah, that's great. And what do you think we're going to see in front of Brave? Do you know which one that's going to be?
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to see, and you'll have to wait to see Brave to see it.
No one realizes they're being fooled because they're too busy laughing at the fool.
Is that how you see me?
That's how everyone sees you. Isn't that the idea?
Mater! I'm sticking by you the way you always stick by me!
Ready?
Is the Pope Mobile Catholic?
Non ci credo.
You gotta be kidding me.
It's the American spy! Hang on!
Now
Gatling gun. Request acknowledged.
Shoot, I didn't mean
Request
it.
acknowledged.
I didn't mean that kind of shoot.
Deploying shoot.
Whoa, whoa.
Get in here!
Oh my gosh!
Make me a German truck.
Request acknowledged.
Check it out. I'm wearing Materhosen. Make me a monster truck.
Request acknowledged.
What the?